we talk about tariffs, it is front and center since the election, of course, but in manufacturing and international import-export business that you've been in decades, 4 decades, do tariffs loom very large for you? Do you have to, is this something that's tough to get through or over or around?
Yeah, well, they do. Frankly, most of our portfolio is radius driven. So we manufacture within countries. 300 miles is typically our shipping radius. So we have about 300 plants around the world in, 40 some odd different countries. Yes, tariffs, even more recently, have become more and more of a concern. The good news here is that, if there is good news in this, is that 8 years ago was when we first really got hit hard by tariffs, and it was a bit of pandemonium at that point in time. It's like we weren't set up, we didn't have the supply chain optionality, and it was a tough period for us. As we enter this new administration, the new talk about tariffs, I feel like in multiple ways we're better prepared for it. We don't like it, but from our customers who now know the reality that this is coming contractually, and less so even contractually, more relationship-wise, they understand the pressures that tariffs may put on our cost structure and are understanding, in fact, are standing beside us as well as others in the industry to say, let's be smart about what we're doing here and make sure that we're not putting tariffs in place that may, first off, hurt the consumer, and frankly, long-term cause damage to a category. We don't like it, but at the same time, we've got our plans in place, and whatever comes our way, we will sort through.
As you referenced 8 years ago, this came up, and it was a shock to the system, as I think we talked about earlier. Howard, do you think this is a Trump 2.0 now, kind of seen his playbook when it comes to negotiating, and he's bombastic, and he's an iconoclast, and he drops a grenade in the room for hello, usually, when it comes to negotiation. Do you think that there's some of that element going on here with trade and tariffs?
For sure. And I think that we're seeing a maturity in terms of the approach. Optionality, trailing words at the end, tariff tax, which is it going to be? And kind of keeping the door open in terms, from his perspective, in terms of the negotiation aspect of this. So still uncertainty, but we're not hearing the same amount of definitive, this will happen tomorrow, and more of a, look, let's create a potentially a win-win environment with each of the countries that he's having conversations with or targets. And equally important, and probably more important from our perspective, there's been less talk about specific commodities. This is what I'm going after. This is where we're going to hit you and hit you hard, and we're going to do it tomorrow.